10, 10. I see double numbers every single day, multiple times a day.
10, 10. Not
Remember
bad.
the 272, and then I looked at the charts and it said
Yeah, double numbers, like double losing numbers, like you lost multiple times on chess.
Multiple times.
Yep.
Now you're lying.
No, I'm not lying.
I lost one time.
How many times did I
When
lose?
you caught me in between a contraction. This is like my first time actually playing and understanding the game. The other times that I played with you years ago when we first started dating, when you showed me, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just playing just because I just wanted to hang out with you. Hey, what's up, you guys? This is Sierra, aka Calicurls. Welcome back to my channel. So I'm doing a labor and delivery video. Right now, the boys, Mickey and Max, are asleep right now. It's 10 o'clock at night. Julio's at work. He doesn't get off until later. He's doing overtime. So yeah, this is the only time I could really get down and film something. I wanted to film during the day, but that's just, it can never happen. Not with Mickey. He's just way too loud and way too wild. Let's just go ahead and jump right into it because there's a lot. I was induced and I was scheduled to be induced on a Thursday, and they kept on switching my appointment. Like 3 times they switched my appointment, which I was getting pissed off because, you know, my mind was set. I was set. I had my mind prepared. I was set to go in, and I'm like, I'm gonna have this baby. And every time they kept delaying it, it just gave me anxiety, and it made me just feel really nervous and just really shitty. So I didn't like how they did that. But, you know, there were a lot of women that needed to have emergency C-sections and that were giving birth. So I understand why, but I just didn't like that. I'm a planner, and when I plan shit, it needs to be stick with the plan. The day that I was going to be induced, I was supposed to come in at 8 o'clock in the morning. I called, actually they called me an hour before we were going to head off and leave, and we were already prepared. Like, we had Mickey ready, we were about to take off. And the nurse called and said, you know what, we're gonna give you a call. Just chill, hang out, do your normal routine, da 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 da. And I'm just like, okay, whatever. So we decided to take Mickey. It was gonna be his last day with him, so we decided to take him to this arcade game in the Moreno Valley Mall. Actually, it's called Round 1. Julio got a beer, I got some ice cream, Mickey got some ice cream, and we were chilling, playing games. And we had some pizza, went home, watched a movie. They gave us a call at like 1:30 in the morning, and me and Julio were watching it. And it was like the ending of the movie, and I thought the laptop like shut off because my phone calls go to my laptop too. And when they gave the call, I was like super excited because I knew it had to be them. Ain't nobody else calling us at 1:30 in the morning. So I was super excited. We got Mickey ready. We took off, left, made it to the hospital. We dropped Mickey off at his grandparents' house. We made it to the hospital, and we were ready and set to go. Now, I was already induced with Mickey, so I already had an idea what was going to happen, and I already had my mind set. I was set to get the epidural this time. I was not going to be dealing with that pain, and you know, my mind was just prepared. I was ready. Now, we're at the hospital. We get our first nurse. This poor girl. She was young. I could tell she did not know what the hell she was doing, and I knew she was new. This girl stabbed me in my arm. She was trying to give me the IV. She stabbed me twice in my arm, and I said, I can't deal with that. That IV hurts. My pain tolerance is pretty high. But, you know, the second time she did it, I was just like, oh, no, no, no. If she messes up the 3rd time, I'm going to go off on her, and I don't want to give this bitch attitude because she's going to be my nurse for a few hours. So I told her, hey, just do it in my hand. That's the easiest way. I know that's the easiest way that you guys can do is to do it in my hand. And she's like, are you sure? Most people don't want it in their hand. I said, no, no, no. My veins are nice and juicy. I don't know why you didn't get it the first time. So you go and do it in my hand. She did it in my hand, messed up again. I was done. I was livid when she wasn't looking at me. And the thing was that irritated me most was she was trying to have a separate conversation with Julio while she's giving me these IVs. Like, if you don't know what you're doing, maybe you should stop talking and pay attention to what you're doing. But you know what? She was new and I didn't want to say anything. I was being really nice because I was this close to switching my nurse, but I sure was giving Julio those looks like, Jesus Christ, look at this girl. So yeah, when she checked my cervix, Julio said she stuffed her whole fist up my vagina. I've had my cervix checked in the past, and you know, they kept on sticking it up there multiple times, and after multiple times it hurt, it starts to hurt. But this girl, she did the first time and I'm just like, that shit hurt. What the hell was she doing? And Julio was like, she stuck her whole fist up there. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, she couldn't find my cervix. So she had to go get the lead nurse. And luckily I had that lead nurse checking my cervix the first time when I had Mickey. So I already knew what she was doing. So I was like, thank God. So she checked it. She did not hurt me. I was fine. But I was just really, you know, I wasn't feeling that nurse. I was really happy when she told us that she was taking off and changing another nurse. And we ended up getting a really good nurse. And that nurse, she actually said she had like 40 years of experience. So, and she was perfect. She did everything. She did not hurt me or anything. Everything was good. She was clowning on me. She was clowning on Julio. She was making us laugh. It was a good time, right? So the second nurse, you know, when I got induced, she started the whole, what is it, inducing, I don't know how to say it, but she started all that, and they gave me the medicine, and I believe it was the Pitocin. I think it's Pitocin. Don't quote me on that. I think it's the Pitocin though. Once they started giving me that, the contractions started coming. And, you know, I did my breathing and stuff. The contractions weren't nearly as intense as it was with my first pregnancy, but they were still intense. And with that medication, when you get induced, your contractions are just a lot more intense. You know, they're a lot faster because your body, you know, the medicine's forcing your body to prepare for labor, prepare for giving birth. So yeah, once the contractions started coming, you know, Julio was distracting me. We were playing chess. We even had enough time to play chess. He was playing classical music, very calming, relaxing music. He was fucking with me though, which was kind of irritating me, but then at the same time it was making me laugh. He would do these stupid little dances. I'd go walk to the bathroom while I'm having a damn contraction. He decides to smack me on my ass. I think my face said it all when I looked at him, because he didn't do that anymore afterwards. He actually calmed down. But he was a really big help. I'm so happy that I had him there with me, helping me. He's just a great partner, a great team. You know, he was just helping me all around and really keeping me calm, keeping me relaxed, and keeping me focused and happy. Now with my first pregnancy with Mickey, when the contractions were happening, it was really hard to walk. You know, everything was just brand new and the pain was new, and you know, I never felt anything like that. The second time around, it was a lot easier. So, you know, it was the same amount of pain, but I guess my breathing, I had the breathing techniques work. So if you guys ever give birth or whatever, I highly recommend you guys looking at those breathing techniques because they work. So I had that on lock. I was doing squats. I was walking. I was feeling good. I was feeling confident. I was ready to have Max. And, I was even confident to the point where I told Julio, he was resting. I said, no, go ahead and rest. I'm going to go walk around the floor. And he's like, are you sure? Are you okay? I could go with you. I'm like, just rest. He was sleeping on the couch or whatever. Julio's very bougie. When we first walk in the labor and delivery room, he saw a couch there, and it was a long couch, and you know, with our first pregnancy, he only had a little chair to sleep on. So when he saw that couch, instead of being like, you know, grateful and appreciated that they had a long couch in there, he was like, the first thing he said to the nurse was like, oh wow, is this a pull-out bed? And I'm just like, in my head, I'm just like, Julio, please, ain't got no damn pull-out bed. We are not no fucking top-notch celebrities. I don't even think they got that shit. So I'm just like, God damn it. The nurse looked at him like, it's just a regular couch. Poor Julio. Julio brought a blanket.
brought a blanket with him, some stupid camping blanket. He gets into hobbies and he gets like overly obsessed with them. So he purchased this stupid camping blanket and he was super excited about it. He's like, babe, look at my blanket, it's gonna keep me warm. It was really loud. And the nurse looked at him when he pulled it out and she's like, what is that? He got mad. He was like, it's a blanket. So he was really triggered by that comment, and I was just cracking up because I clown on him, but for a nurse to like call him out on it, that shit was hilarious. That shit made my night. Before I forgot to mention, before I had the medicine to induce me, I had a replacement doctor come in because my doctor was off, which I was kind of sad about because I love my doctor. He's just good. He's a great doctor. But they had a different doctor, I think it was Dr. Lee, that came in, and he was telling me, you know, they did the ultrasound, they didn't see the nuchal cord around his neck anymore. So the umbilical cord was not around his neck anymore, which I was so happy about. I was just like, he was moving crazy the night before my scheduled appointment to be induced. And I'm like, dude, he might be between that and the past 4 days with my last monitor appointment, he unwrapped himself from the umbilical cord. So I was just like, wow, that made me feel really good because I was really nervous about it, even though I know it's normal. I was just, you know, that was something that I was thinking about, something that I was just, you know, I was really nervous about. So the nuchal cord wasn't wrapped around his neck anymore. And the Dr. Lee, he was asking me, did I still want to continue to be induced? I can go home and just wait for it to happen naturally. I said, no, I still want to have this baby. I am tired. I am done being pregnant. I don't know. I was having too much anxiety and I was prepared. I didn't want to go home. That was just too stressful, way too stressful on me. So I made the call and I said, I still want to continue with this. And he was giving me, you know, all the things that could happen. Like, for example, I guess I was 20% more likely to have an emergency C-section if I decided to be induced. And I took the chance. I said, you know what, let's do it. By the time I was 5 centimeters dilated, my nurse was basically saying, are you ready to get the epidural? And I was like, you know what, I could deal with it a little longer. And then she looked at me again and I said, but you know, the pain is kind of getting to me, so I think I do need that epidural. Because I remember with my first pregnancy, when I was 5 centimeters dilated, I handled it, I was doing good, but when that shit continued on for hours, I was getting exhausted. And when I wanted the epidural, I had to wait an extra 2 hours because the doctor was in a C-section, emergency C-section. So I had to wait for my epidural, and that was pain, that was agony, that was horrible. So this time I was like, I could have dealt with that pain for a few more hours, but nah. I said, go ahead and give me the epidural. I'm glad I made that decision. Everything was smooth sailing the rest of the way. Honestly, the whole entire experience was just so much better than my first pregnancy. The only thing I have to say about the epidural, actually there's a couple things. It made me super nauseous.
Right.
Yeah.
Here you go. Yeah, you threw up. I threw like 2 of those away already.
Just one. I did not throw up twice.
Okay, 1 then.
Yeah, I feel so dizzy.
It made me nauseous for the whole night. It made me nauseous for even after I gave birth to Max. I threw up a lot. With Mickey, I threw up maybe 3 times, 4 times while I was pushing, and then a couple times after I gave birth. With this guy, I was throwing up before it was time to push. I was throwing up right after when I had him in my arms. I was throwing up. I was throwing up the next morning.
Nauseous.
I was just feeling really shitty for like a whole 24 hours off that epidural. So that shit made me super sick. I was super nauseous. Another thing with my first pregnancy, the epidural only worked on the left side of my body. So I felt everything on the right side of my body. And I felt, you know, Mickey coming out of me. I felt the ripping. I felt everything. This time around, same thing, but on the opposite side of my body. So I couldn't feel anything on the right side of my body, but I was able to move my left leg. So I felt everything on my left side of the body. And I was just like, oh my God, I don't want to have to feel this pain anymore. I don't want to feel the tearing. I don't want to feel none of that. But I moved to the side, I guess, when I was laying on one side for too long, the nurse told me to turn over, and it kind of evened out a little bit. I still had some feeling on the left side of my body, but it did numb it in a little way where I felt him coming out on the left side of my body, but it wasn't as intense as it was my first pregnancy. By the time it's ready for me to push, my doctor, the replacement doctor, is nowhere to be found. He was stuck in traffic on the way to the hospital, and they were telling me they didn't want to take out the catheter, they didn't want me to move, they didn't want me to do nothing, because anything, a sneeze or a cough, he would have been coming out. So I was waiting there, I was staying calm, me and Julio were like sleeping, and even during my contractions, that's why I love the epidural, because I was able to sleep during these like super intense contractions, and I didn't feel shit. So it was amazing. I was able to get like power naps before I started the pushing part. So once the doctor came, ready to go, it was ready, time to push, and you know, they set me up, they had my legs up and stuff. Julio was, you know, right there, and everything was set up. And when I started pushing, they were counting, I literally pushed for 30 seconds and he was out. I did 2 good pushes and a half. 2.5 good pushes and he came out. And I ripped again. I ripped at the bottom, but this time I also ripped at the top. That top rip really hurt afterwards, days after, you could feel it. That shit hurt, that shit felt uncomfortable. But I mean, it was easy. He came out super quick. He had a lot of fluid in his lungs. So this, you know, with Mickey, they immediately took him because both of our heart rates were way too high. So they immediately took Mickey away from me. I wasn't able to have him on my chest or anything. With Max, they put him on my chest and they heard him breathing weird. So they took him away from me, and he had a lot of fluids. I think he had like 8 ounces. Yeah, 8 ounces of fluid in his lungs. So they got all that out, and he wasn't crying. And so the nurse was like patting his back hard, like, come on, give me a cry. And you know, that's when that feeling in my body, like, oh my gosh, cry, 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 what's going on? And he finally cried. So I was like, okay, gosh, these boys scared me. Mickey scared me in the freaking labor and delivery room. And then this boy scared me too for a quick second though. But yeah, he had all that fluid in his lungs, and he was, you know, kind of making weird groggly noises, but they said that was normal because he still had a little bit of fluid in his lungs, and he's trying to get used to his lungs and learn how to use them. So when they placed him on my chest before they took him away from me, he was like really socking me and getting all the blood and nasty shit all over my face. They said that I looked like I had a Halloween mask on, like it was Halloween. It was pretty gross, but that's my baby, so I wasn't like grossed out. I was just more in the moment of like, finally I get to hold him. But he did have a lot of blood all over me. I had it all over my lip. Ugh. So I had all that pussy shit on me. It was gross. Ugh. But after they cleaned him up, I was able to hold him.
Aww, you look so beautiful, babe.
Thank you.
You did such a great job. I mean, I'm so happy you didn't have a hard time this time. What happened so fast, and you took it calm. You took this whole situation calm, and you're strong. You're strong.
Now, I had trouble breastfeeding him because although you would think with breastfeeding Mickey for 1.5 years that, you know, when the kids breastfeed, obviously your nipples stick out. And before I had Mickey, my nipples were inverted. So I had trouble breastfeeding. I struggled with breastfeeding with Mickey. I had to use a nipple shield. This time around, it was the same thing, except my nipples weren't inverted. They were actually flat this time. And yeah, he was having a hard time latching on, so I requested a nipple shield. They didn't even tell me about it. I asked them, can you guys give me a nipple shield because I'm having a hard time getting him to latch on. So they gave me that, and that ended up working out. I used the nipple shield for a couple days, and then I was able, my nipples like popped out. They were like ready. So I was able to nurse him regularly, like after probably the third or fourth day. So yeah, I was struggling with the breastfeeding at first. I was really discouraged about that. I was really upset about that because I'm like, this is supposed to be easier this time around, but everything's good now. Like everything is perfect. Breastfeeding is super easy. It kind of, you know, I didn't do it for like a good 5-6 months. So when it was kind of a little newish, you know what I'm saying? So I'm really happy that we got it down now, and he's doing super good with the whole breastfeeding. So one thing that they don't tell you that goes on in labor and delivery when you're pushing is some of us, a lot of us, shit when we're pushing. And with my first pregnancy, I shitted. I didn't see it. I didn't feel it. I didn't really care. The second time with my second pregnancy, I didn't shit. I asked Julio though, I said, did I shit this time? And he said, no, you didn't shit. So I was like, okay, cool. But they were really quick to get me out of that labor and delivery room. Like my leg, I was like completely numb down there on the right side of my body. And they're like, can you walk? And I'm like, no, I can't walk. I can only use my left leg. I mean, if you guys want me to hop on over to the recovery room, I can do that, but I can't walk. So, you know, they waited 30 minutes, came back, and then they basically helped me to get on this little stand thing. And then, you know, that was kind of hard because my leg was completely dead. It was numb. But I was able to get in the recovery room, and, you know, we had Julio grab Max, and Julio had to go back and get our stuff. And we had the recovery room to ourselves. We didn't get to share it with anybody, so I was really happy about that. Like I said before, because, you know, nothing was brand new. We already done this before. I was super exhausted. Me and Julio were very exhausted. We fell asleep. We shared the bed, the hospital bed together, and we fell asleep. Max was in his little, you know, the little bassinet thing that they give you at the hospital. And when I woke up, he was just staring at me. And I thought it was the cutest thing ever because I'm just like, oh, he was staring at me. Did not cry, didn't do anything. He was super quiet, just like Mickey. Like, I remember Mickey didn't cry at all the entire time we were there, and the people next to us, they had their baby. Their baby cried the entire time. And they're like, we didn't even know you had a baby. Same thing with Max. He was just super chill, super quiet, did not cry. And I was really happy about that because I really thought Max was going, you know, when I was pregnant, I felt it. I felt like he was going to be a crier, and he is not a crier at all. He's just like Mickey. Even till today, he's just like Mickey. Like, I get my rest. I get good rest, you guys. Like, I mean, I may not look the best, but I mean, you could see that I'm getting my sleep. So we were able to rest a lot. I think we watched a movie. I had the hospital food the entire time. I didn't want Julio like going out and getting me food.
What do they have you eating there? Some crushed ice?
Oh, this shit is bomb.
Mm-hmm, I think so too. Gonna have some after you?
You know, I just felt like I didn't want to ask for too much. So yeah, I didn't even ask for any food. I had family members that were asking, that came over and visit, that asked if I wanted food. And I was still nauseous from the epidural, so I didn't even feel like eating any type of food. I didn't want to get sick and throw up off of it. So yeah, I just sticked with the hospital food. I was pretty much eating bread and chocolate chip cookies the whole time.
Are you serving that for me after I give birth?
You want me to save this for you?
Why are you? No.
You want this hard brick cookie?
I do. I still want it.
You still want it? Okay, I'll save it for you. I'll save it for you, don't worry.
Why you have to slam it like that?
Well, look. You could literally...
That's the hospital food, but yeah.
Yep.
Do not judge me. I think I kept on asking for chocolate chip cookies every meal. So for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I was asking for a chocolate chip cookie. They ended up starting to send me 2 chocolate chip cookies the second day when I was asking for it. So they knew I had a sweet tooth, and they were very nice. The kitchen and the people that were dropping off the food were really nice, and you know, they even gave Julio a complete whole meal too. So the recovery nurse, she talked way too much. I didn't feel like hearing all that talking. You know when somebody's just talking going on, and it's like, bitch, I could be resting right now. I could be sleeping right now. I don't want to hear you talk. I don't care what you and your husband are doing after you get off work. You do your job. Like, I mean, I hate to be rude and I hate to be mean, but I was super exhausted, you guys. I was not trying to hear that shit. She was, apparently it was her last day. She was going on vacation with her husband. So she wasn't doing a good job. She was just, I could tell, me and Julio could both tell that her focus was trying to get out and leave. And it was to the point where when she left, she said bye to us, but she didn't even introduce us to a new nurse. So hours went by, and I'm over here thirsty for water, and I'm just like, when's our nurse coming in? Where's the new nurse? Like, she didn't even introduce us. She still got her name on the board. So I had to call the lead nurse, and the lead nurse ended up taking care of me. It was a black woman. She was super cool. She was super sweet. She made up for what that other nurse did. So they ended up giving me a nurse. The lead left, and she ended up introducing me to a new nurse. And the rest of the nurses that I had afterwards were so sweet, super sweet, did a great job. It was just those 2 nurses. The first nurse that I had when I went in to be induced, and the first nurse that I had when I went into the recovery room. So yeah, those first nurses they weren't my cup of tea. And also with that nurse that was leaving on vacation, I told her, I called her, I said, I need to go to she told me, give me a call. Don't try to go to the bathroom by yourself. Give me a call so I could help you. I gave this bitch a call, and I said, I need to go to the bathroom. She said, I'll be there in 5 minutes. My sister was there, and she was like looking at the clock. She said, it's been like 10 minutes. It's been like 12 minutes. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to the bathroom, fuck her. So I go to the bathroom, I do it by myself, and like, she comes in right when I'm trying to walk out, and I'm like, I already did it. I did a good job. I did it by myself. And she's like, oh, good. It's because it's not your first rodeo. And I'm like, you fucking bitch. So she just wasn't, I'm not saying that she was a bad nurse, but she just wasn't doing a good job. So the day that, so the next day goes on, and it's time to, this is the day that I get to go home. I'm super excited. And, you know, I missed Mickey the whole time. We were in the hospital for like 3 days. So I really missed Mickey, and me and Julio decided to FaceTime him. We FaceTime him. He is mad at us. He hits the phone. He doesn't want to talk to us. And that made me super sad, super sad. I started crying after got off the phone, because I was just like, we've never done that before. We've never left him. He's never spent the night anywhere or anything like that. Like, my boys, you know, he's always been with me. So I was really sad about that. Julio was sad about it, but I started crying, and I turned my head because I don't like people looking at me when I'm crying, even Julio. So I turned my head, and I didn't want Julio to see that I was crying, but then he noticed that I was crying, and he felt bad. And he's just like, you know what, I'm gonna go see Mickey. I'm gonna go make sure that he's good. I'm gonna go play with him and make sure that he's happy before he comes home, because I don't want him upset with us. And so that was a great idea. He went, he FaceTimed me again, and he gave Mickey some candy. So of course Mickey was like, hi mom, kissing the phone. So that made me super happy. That made up for, you know, what happened earlier. And that actually made my day. I really missed him. I just wanted to hold him, and I wanted him to meet his brother. That was like the biggest thing that I was excited about, was I wanted them to meet each other. So before I was able to be discharged from the hospital, the doctor had to, or pediatrician had to see Max and make sure that his jaundice was good, because he had a little bit of jaundice. Now, he didn't have it to the point where they had to keep him at the hospital, but he did have a little bit to the point where I had to have a checkup immediately the next day. So after the doctor seen him, he was good to go. They gave me, you know, the discharge papers, and I ended up giving Julio a call saying that we're ready to go. It was kind of dramatic leaving the hospital because I didn't have any baby clothes with me. They were in the car, and Julio had Mickey. So I couldn't go downstairs and leave Max and get his baby clothes, and Julio couldn't come upstairs to give me the baby clothes and leave Mickey in the car. So, you know, that was kind of stressful. Luckily there was a really nice nurse that we had. She was super nice. She was gonna go down and get the baby clothes, but she ended up telling me that we can keep the baby clothes that they gave us at the hospital, and, you know, we'll just put him in the car seat and he'll be good. We could keep a blanket on him and stuff too, so he doesn't get too cold. So she was super chill, super cool. She helped me out. I was discharged from the hospital. We went home. Mickey met Max, and that's it. That was it. That was it. That was my labor and delivery story. The experience was so much better, so much more beautiful. I mean, I don't want to say more beautiful, but it was just such a great experience this time around. I'm super happy that Mickey and Max, they are just, Mickey is such a great big brother, you guys. That, I think out of everything, I was not expecting that. I was expecting Mickey to be a challenge. I was expecting me to have to watch constantly over him. I mean, don't get me wrong, I still have to watch him. He's a toddler, you know, anything could happen. But I mean, he just makes it so much easier than I thought it was going to be. And Max too, like, they both make it so much easier than I thought it was going to be. And I'm so happy that I kind of expected the worst, because I'm just like, this is easy. I'm back to my old routine. I got my body back. You know, things are just a little bit harder. I can't clean up as much as I want to. You guys should see this room. Gosh, I'm in Mickey and Max's room right now, and this shit is just a hot mess. But everywhere else, like the living room, the kitchen, the bedroom, the bathrooms, they're clean. It's just hard to get to these boys' rooms. So I just keep the door shut so I don't have to think about it, because I get anxiety when I see things are out of place and there's a mess in the room. But like I said, these boys have made it so much easier than I thought it was going to be. Julio was able to take off time, like a week. He was able to take a week off. He helped out tremendously. I thank him so much for that. That was a great transition, and I'm feeling good. I'm super happy, full of bliss. My heart is just so full and so happy, you guys. With Mickey, I went through that postpartum depression for a little while. I think it was like the first 2 weeks, you know, I would catch, you know, some moments I would just be really sad for no reason, but I would just be a little bit more extra emotional and just a little down. With this time around, the baby blues did not hit me nearly as hard. I know the first day that I came back home, I was just kind of feeling down and I think it was just more me being exhausted, more of the drugs coming out of my body, where Julio said something. He just said something so small, something that would never bother me any other day. He said something so small, like, "No, that's you." And I wanted to cry. I went to the bathroom to take a shower and I wanted to cry. And he came in the bathroom and he was like, "What's wrong?" And I said, "Nothing. You're just being mean to me. And I was like, I don't need your negativity right now. If you have nothing nice to say, don't talk to me. Don't say nothing to me at all. And he apologized and he was just like, oh, I'm so sorry, because it was nothing, you guys. It was nothing to be upset over. But yeah, that was me. I think that was just the hormones and all the drugs coming out of my body. No, I'm not dealing with the baby blues at all anymore. Honestly, not at all. And I know that a lot of people do, a lot of women do deal with that, and that is something serious. But this time around, I was very fortunate, and I'm really happy. I'm just beyond blessed, you guys. I think about it and I'm just like, what did I do to deserve this? I'm able to stay. I don't have to, you know, worry too much. I'm kind of worrying about some other things that are going on, not with Julio, not with the boys, but with myself and what I'm doing. But other than that, I'm just like, what? I'm so lucky. I'm so happy. You guys, I have 2 boys, 2 sons. 2 sons, and they're amazing. They love each other so much. Max stares at Mickey. Mickey just always wants to give him kisses, and it's just amazing, you guys. And I can't wait to share these moments with you that are going to happen in the future. And I thank you guys so much for all the love and support. I had so many of you guys messaging me on a regular basis, like, did you have the baby yet? And I had so much love. Everything was amazing. And I thank you guys for being a part of that, being a part of my pregnancy, and able to see everything happen. I cannot wait to introduce you guys to Max. Right now, he is sleeping. He's sleeping, so I do not want to wake him up and get him. But I promise you guys, I will do a whole full video of everything about Max, okay? But that's it, you guys. That's my labor and delivery video. I'm so sorry if this video came out so much longer than what I anticipated it to be, but that was everything. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in another one.